Hello everybody and welcome to this full moon pick a card reading for January 6th, 2023. I'm going to start out with a little bit of astrology and then I'll leave timestamps down below if you wish to skip directly to your pile. But we'll go over the tarot card associated with this full moon as well as the nakshatra for Vedic astrology and the fixed star, the Sabian symbol. Okay, so if you want to skip ahead, take a moment, pause the video if you like, to meditate on the cards and see which one resonates with you most closely. On pile 1, I have the dragonfly. Pile 2, I have hawk's eye. And pile 3, I have moldavite. Okay. All right. And with that being said, let's get started here. So the moon is at 22 degrees Gemini and the sun is at 22 degrees Sagittarius. It will be conjunct Mercury retrograde for the full moon. As a side note, Mercury is retrograde until the 18th of January and Mars until the 12th of January. So the tarot card associated with the third decan of Gemini is the Ten of Swords. This is the position of the sun in Gemini. So and Gemini is an air sign along with Aquarius and Libra that represents the mind, the mental body. So this speaks of a finality and a completion. So there's a progression in the Eight of Swords, which could be linked to, say, frustration. The Nine of Swords, which could be anxiety. And then the Ten of Swords is paralysis. Okay, so we're going to focus on the Ten of Swords, though. And I'm getting some notes from a website called tsusanchang.com. It's a great, very informative website for those wishing to learn more about each card. So paralysis can take a couple different forms. It can be a cathartic deep sleep following a big ugly cry where you wake up puffy-eyed and parched but reborn. It can also be the heavy limb depression that makes it impossible to get out of bed. The weight of knowing too much, of being exposed to the unfiltered brutality of the world, can cause us to give up. The intellect can be a cruel tyrant when its power goes unchecked. When we receive knowledge in the Garden of Eden, it leads to our immediate expulsion. But the idea that knowledge is dangerous can be used for our empowerment as well. Mercury, god of secret knowledge and trash talk, is also the god who gives us the tools to escape traps of our own making. And Mercury is the ruler of the signs Gemini and Virgo, and as well as the Magician card. So the Ten of Swords is an ending as it comes at a time when the sun reaches the summer solstice, marking the end of the lengthening light, the death of the Oak King as his light and power begins to fade, and the darkness, the Holly King, starts to take over until the winter solstice. The Ten of Swords, whose hermetic title is the Lord of Ruin, marks the end of a cycle as it closes out Gemini. The card that follows is the first decan of Cancer, which is a cardinal sign marking the start of a new season of summer. And that first decan of Cancer is ruled by the Two of Cups, the Lord of Love. Love comes out of ruin. The sun is rising in the distance. It is always darkest before the dawn. The Ten of Swords is unpleasant, but it can be a crucial reset button after it seems you have exhausted all your options. Whether it means you walk away from the argument, tell your friends you need sleep, get back on your meds, or just go to bed for tonight, you can hit the reset button and try again tomorrow. Once your intellectual rigidity has led you to ruin, there's nothing left but to give up and surrender to love. Only by opening up the heart can we cure the wound of the mind. In Hermetic Kabbalah, the Ten of Swords is followed by the Two of Coins, Lord of Change. So in that case, ruin leads to change. It's only after you've lost everything that you're free to do anything. So after dealing with the Ten of Swords and its energy, you have two choices. Give up the fight and listen to your heart. You can be right or you can be happy, forgive and forget. Or you can go for a change of scenery. Break up your habits or routines, take a trip, try something new. The last decan of Gemini is mutable decan in a mutable sign, meaning this too shall pass. So with Mercury, ruler of Gemini, opposing the moon and in retrograde, there may be miscommunication leading to arguments. There may be a straw that breaks the camel's back, placing finality on a situation. Ten of Swords could be a blessing in disguise, a release to open your heart up to love in the next card in the sequence, the Two of Cups. Or it could be the end of an argument, as evidenced by the fixed star associated with this full moon. Peace, forgiveness, burying the hatchet, leading to healing and rebuilding of relationships and love. The swords are buried in the back of the figure in this card, emphasizing finality. The fixed star is Wasat, W-A-S-A-T, in the middle of the left twin Pollux, the dark twin. It's at his belt line, waistline. The name comes from the Arabic al-Wasat, meaning the middle. It is the nature of Saturn, disgrace, ruin, and calamity. It gives malevolence, destructiveness as a first principle, and is connected with chemicals, poisons, and gas. Wasat also does show up a quality of being able to speak with clear authority when others are waffling, and prominence in public affairs or management is often the result. Wasat rules the right side below the breast in the human body. The star which joins the twins in the middle is associated with partnership and compromise, but also separation. It helps build bridges, form alliances and treaties, and leads to peace more than war. However, in the constellation Gemini, the Chinese astrologers asserted that if the constellation were invaded by Mars, war and poor harvest could ensue. Now, in tropical zodiac, Mars has been in Gemini, but it's not there in sidereal, so it's still in Taurus. But it's been retrograde since October. Now, in sidereal astrology, Mars has not yet reached Gemini. Okay. There's been a lot of saber rattling around the world, and China threatening to invade Taiwan is one of them. So it's something to keep an eye on in the future. If we see that happen, it might be when in sidereal Mars moves into Gemini. When the stars conjunct the moon, it's advised to plow fields and sow seeds, but do not travel. Okay, moving on to Vedic astrology, the nakshatra associated with it is Punarvasu. The characteristics are intellectual and spiritual wisdom, material prosperity, good natured, quiet, patient, devout, and lives in comfort. Translation means good again. Symbol is a bow and a quiver of arrows. Perhaps where we get the arrows and swords in the back of the figure in this Ten of Swords card. It's also interesting that it opposes the constellation of Sagittarius, the archer. The animal symbol of Punarvasu Nakshatra is the female cat. Sensitivity and need for independence. Ruling planet is Jupiter, who is also the ruler of Sagittarius. The nature of this nakshatra is Diva, meaning godlike. Presiding deity is Aditi, A-D-I-T-I, who tends the ground on which healthy seeds can bear fruit, an earth goddess. All right. The Sabian symbol associated with this degree of Gemini is 3 fledglings in a nest high in a tree. Again, speaking more of the birds and the air element. It makes me think of that Bob Marley song, 3 Little Birds, how every little thing is going to be all right. So again, the dawn is coming after the darkness, dark night of the soul. The growth of spirituality the keynote is the growth of spiritually creative processes in an at least relatively integrated mind. In traditional symbolism, birds usually refer to spiritual forces, or at least to the higher and freer aspects of the mind. Here we see only the very beginnings of a process in what we might also call the upper chamber of the consciousness, where the creative power of the spirit can be received and assimilated. So maybe downloads through the crown chakra coming in. It's fertilized by the spirit and supported by a deeply rooted cultural and vitalistic tradition. Man can gradually develop an integral personality. It is essentially threefold, reflecting the divine trinity. This is the third stage of a process which should lead to a deeper and more natural understanding of human existence. It suggests that ambitious mass protests of aroused and largely blind desires should be transmuted through harmonization with natural drives and in terms of spontaneous responses attuned to the phases of natural evolution. Stressed here is creative integration. So Gemini is all about integration, that duality consciousness, male and female, the good twin, the evil twin, and the middle ground, and realizing that they're connected. They're one and the same. They're 2 sides of the same coin. All right. So with that being said, I did already shuffle and meditate over the oracle cards that I've selected, but I will clarify with tarot cards as we go along. Okay, I'm going to begin with pile number 1, the dragonfly. So I'll put these off to the side. And we'll get to them momentarily. All right, pile number 1. You chose the dragonfly. This is a piece of amber jewelry that I picked up last summer, I believe. I really started to resonate with this as a spirit animal, and it's the communicator between the physical world and the spirit world. So let's see what messages our dragonfly friend is bringing to us. It also has to do with evolution, going from living in the water world to the air. Okay, we'll begin with our Queen of the Moon Oracle. So here we have boundaries. Okay. Number 12. Judging what you need and what you don't need allows you to place healthy boundaries. You teach people how to treat you. Judge what is healthy and right for you with clarity and care. Simplify. I can say yes or no with authenticity and clarity. In times of sickness or say the presence of very strong emotions such as grief, we often naturally simplify. We cut out all the extras that are too hard or too complex at that time. We might not take up an invitation to an event we might have to work at attending. We might only watch a film we know uplifts us. We might only want to see or communicate with friends we know and trust to understand, love, and support us, warts and all. We might only choose to spend the depth of our heart and time with a few people rather than many. And we become vastly sensitive to those we now discover take their unfair share of our energy. We might also look to our body more compassionately and eat nourishing foods to heal it, do comforting things for it to recover more easily, or just decide to rest it completely. If we are healthy people, we naturally action a kind of simplicity and a set of boundaries to protect ourselves so we can give ourselves some space to heal. What if we did this all the time? What if we more consciously chose more simply and specifically for the benefit of our own mind, body, and spirit? Yes, life is complex, but it can be richer and more enjoyable if we pare back what is negatively extra and choose a more deliberate and authentic path. We don't need so much fluff and people-pleasing and running about madly, and fast food, fast fashion, gossip, and hardcore Olympic-level scheduling and stress. We just don't. Look at what you chose to do last time you were forced to simplify. If it was a positive choice, maybe that could be your starting point for something better today. This judgment you made was for you, and it worked. Not all judgment is bad or to be avoided. Every single one of us judges every day. If we don't, we do not have values, nor do we have boundaries, huge issues for some. To simply focus on our own experience and not to look outside yourself for justice may all be very nice for gurus, but for those of us who want to be the change they wish to see, I judge happily that certain things are unacceptable, so I strive to change those things. People judged that slavery wasn't right and involved themselves in change, even to the extent of waging war. People judge that whaling wasn't right, so it's been banned in most countries. Boundaries teach people how to treat us, and this is a kind of positive judgment. The companion stone or metal is obsidian. I actually have obsidian here. Big piece. So absorb and reflect negative energy. She's got this beautiful shield, this bubble surrounding her, protecting her. Some of you might be prioritizing self-care at this time or just stepping away from the world and its spinning madness. I know that's me recently. I've had to pare things back, but it's feeling better every day. So let's go on to your Rose Oracle card. We have the Child Within, Inner Mother, Innocence, Gentleness, Tenderness. Yeah, being a mother to yourself. Maybe some of us didn't have the best mothers growing up, or they didn't love us the way that we needed to be loved, or they couldn't speak our love language. So this is up to us as adults to become that parent, to take care of ourselves the way that we may not have been as a child. But also with this figure inside a balloon here makes me think of pregnancy, perhaps. If some people are looking for that or trying for that, you may find that out soon. And our angel and ancestor card is the Hermit. Yeah, retreat and recharge. I get it that you've been pushing yourself too hard, pile one. There's definitely a need to take care of you right now. And that's the Hermit card in the tarot is ruled by Virgo. So Virgo rules the 6th house of health. And we have Mawu, Mother Earth. You are called upon to help with environmentalism. So another card referencing the Mother. The Mother Earth could be spending more time in nature. When it says retreat and recharge, you could be going on a retreat out into the woods, into nature, visiting your local park or camping, hiking. something that gets you more grounded and in touch with, just to discharge those negative energies too, to have somewhere to put them. Here we go. Yay, this is my spirit animal, the dolphin. Don't worry, be happy. Yeah, everything's going to be all right. And I mentioned those 3 little birds. That was the Sabian symbol, right? 3 birds high in a nest. And there's more bubbles here. These doves encased in bubbles. It's like they're being delivered, sent around the world to where they're needed for healing. But yeah, dolphins are the happiest creatures in the ocean. They're always playing, having fun. So getting back, and this has the child within too, getting back in touch with that playful inner child. Something you enjoy doing, or a hobby you used to enjoy that maybe you've put aside in favor of work or obligations. Okay, and the Journey of Love card, the Rings of Time. Okay. Yeah, there's a time for everything, a time to reap, a time to sow. Saturn is the Lord of Time. Everything in divine timing, so we can't force things before they're ready. And if something has served its perfect purpose and it's expired, we need to throw it out. You don't keep old expired food in your fridge, do you? So don't keep, old expired emotions inside your body and let them, putrefy and bring you down. Okay. Now, all right, we have the archetype card, the Destroyer. All right, 23. Hey, this is the year 23. This is a card I have not yet pulled yet. It looks like a set of wolf eyes in there, I believe, inside that ring. Very interesting. Can't wait to see what that has to say. Makes me think of also the goddess Kali, the Destroyer. Again, Mars energy, destruction, things being cleared and cleansed out, like the boundaries card talked about simplifying your life. All right, this card is called the Savage, the Unexpected, the Rejected. The Destroyer, the final of the 3 archetypes in the trio of existence, has necessary yet painful work to do in the world. Also makes me think of that Ten of Swords card we talked about. It's the end. It's a finality, a completion. Culturally, we have an aversion to endings, and we hang on to permanence as a signifier of success. Yet the Destroyer pulls the rug out from underneath relationships, jobs, homes, and all forms of security. It's the part of us that wants things to end. Its painful orientation is to uncover our true purpose. The Destroyer does not let us linger long in comforts, as it knows not much happens in that realm. With its piercing eyes, it seeks out stagnancy from a distance, and the rest becomes history. In the old myths, this is the moment when the heads begin to roll. The ground opens up, and castles crumble. Hold on for the ride, the Destroyer has arrived. Gives me that Tower energy too, the number 16 card. It cleanses and clears its Mars energy and destruction. So consider Picasso's statement, every act of creation is first of all an act of destruction. And it kind of alludes to that order out of chaos symbol as well. In old tales, the Destroyer sometimes appears as a black dog. Other times it takes the form of gods and goddesses such as Shiva, Kali, and the Apophis. And when it's said about black dogs, do you guys remember that old movie from, was it the 80s? The Neverending Story, classic if you haven't seen it. But the Nothing is personified by the black wolf that's like stalking Atreyu. But he's the one behind the destruction of Fantasia, that's the name. All right, so in its light aspect, swift and precise blows that redirect our life. When dark, self-destruction, negativity, unwillingness to rebuild. So yeah, avoid getting stuck in that bubble, though, in those boundaries. Don't completely withdraw within yourself and implode. It's just a temporary phase to recover before you're ready to start building again. Our astrological aspect card we have is fire. Yeah, fire cleanses, doesn't it? And the sun's in Sagittarius. Fire sign. So Aries, Leo, Sag, confidence, optimism, passion, and bravery. Okay, yeah, it is. Takes a lot of bravery and confidence and optimism to get through all this destruction. You're breaking down your world and rebuilding it. Okay, so cleansing with fire. And then I did draw one of the Syrian Starseed Tarot cards to get us started. Divine Justice. Okay. Number 11, Libra. Justice, fairness. Karmic debts being paid, the end of a cycle, tipping the scales back in your favor. Okay. And now we'll get some tarot cards to get us a message for pile 1 in regards to all these oracles that we've read about. What does pile 1 need to hear? Okay. Well, that's a lot. I don't feel good about that, but these top 3 were kind of chilling, and that's what I wanted, was 4 cards. All right, so underneath we have the 2 of Pentacles. If you listen to the intro, the Ten of Swords in the Kabbalah is followed by the 2 of Coins, which is the Lord of success, or Lord of change. So after ruin in the Ten of Swords comes change. So it's a recalibration, a rebalancing, like we're seeing in the Justice card here. Very dualistic, just like Gemini. And then here, this card flipped over, the 4 of Wands. This is Venus and Aries. It's often called the marriage card, but it could also stand for manifestation. I see it as a gateway, a portal, 1111. So once you clear the ground and make space, you're able to rebuild. 4s are also indicative of doorways, new beginnings, and firm foundations. So, I mean, you think of a square, that's how they lay a square for a new building. So there's a new foundation you're building with somebody after, you've come out of this hermit mode, after this period of cleansing. You're ready to rebuild. And it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be platonic friendship that you end up, once you show people how to treat you, that you'll start attracting the people that you desire in your life, that will respect those boundaries, that will respect your energy. Next, we have the Page of Cups. Okay, could be romantic new beginnings for some of you, but the Page of Cups being an emotional new beginning. Or something that you're passionate about. Magician, there it is. Creativity, change. Yeah, you're holding the power in your hands. I mean, even though it may feel like the world is crumbling around you, you have all of these energies within you to transform and transmute the energy into something that you want. Remake the world as you want it. Be the change you want to see. And you see the snake down here shedding its skin. It can't grow if it doesn't shed that layer of skin. It has to, because it's outgrown it. And maybe you've outgrown a friend circle or a job or a living situation, and you're ready for something new here in the Page of Cups. And finally, the Wheel. Yep. The Wheel of Karma, Wheel of Time. So this is number 10, Major Arcana. Things are changing. It's a change of seasons too. We have the 4 seasons here represented. Another snake representing evolution. So pay attention, I guess, to the cardinal seasons. We have Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn that mark the beginning of a change. But yeah, there's, I mentioned the scales tipping back in your favor. So the pendulum swings from both sides. Positive, negative. Things can't always be positive and they can't always be negative. So wherever they were, things are about to turn around. Okay. All right. I'm going to wrap this up with my favorite little angel cards. All right. Something for pile 1, please. 3 cards. Let's see what they are. Number 1, play. Yeah, I said the inner child, right? The child within. Have fun, be expressive. Don't take life so seriously if it's got you down. I think, make sure you give yourself time to have fun. All work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy, right? Enthusiasm. Yeah, it's going to bring a lot of joy and enthusiasm back in your life. And also it might, reignite a spark in your heart and give you a fresh new motivation to go in a new way. Passion and enthusiasm right there. Okay. And you have to create with passion. When they say whenever you're practicing ceremonial magic, you have to put a lot of emotion into what it is you're trying to manifest. Okay. And then we have respect. Okay. Yeah. Respect for yourself, respect for others and their boundaries, respect your boundaries. See how they're kind of mirroring each other. They bow to each other. That namaste. Does that mean the person in me recognizes the person in you? And yeah, that's a great, it's almost reflected here in the 4 of Cups, or 4 of Wands too. So you have somebody coming in that will respect you as much as you respect yourself. All right, pile 1. I wish you so many blessings here on this full moon, and that all your manifestations may come true. Keep taking care of yourself. And if you're drawn to another pile, go feel free to check it out now. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, pile number 2. Thank you for tuning in. You chose this beautiful hawkeye. It kind of looks like a tiger's eye, but it's a little bit of blue and gold. It's really pretty holographic colors we got going on. All right, that's a very air-associated gem, if you ask me. Birds being of Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, the element of air. So we're going to start with your oracle cards, and then I'll branch out and clarify with some tarot. So you're beginning with your Queen of the Moon Oracle. We have fear. Okay. This is really interesting because I did do a card of the day today. And if you watched that, this is the card that came up for the full moon. So, yeah, I'm going to read from it about the book, but go check out the daily reading for January 6th on my channel. It gives a pretty good description there too. All right, the time for courage is here. Fear is only useful if it teaches you something. You must examine whether your fears are old or new, useful or unhelpful. Fear blocks flow. I am courageous is the mantra. If there is one thing that stops people from fulfilling their dreams or even getting things done that they wanted to, it is fear. Experiencing fear is built in, a chemical part of the way our brain works to protect us. Emotions, such as fear, cause the production of a whole raft of body chemicals that give us the best chance of coping with situations that need our attention to survive. There is a healthy kind of fear, the kind that warns us to keep out of a dangerous situation or stay clear of someone who indistinctly makes us wary. However, it would be a rare person who does not have at least one fear that does not serve them, a fear that is unrealistic or untrue, or perhaps based on an outmoded experience or something that is buried so deeply we only see the symptoms rather than the fear itself. Most fears have been formed with the positive intent of protection. We need to separate that intention out and deal with it in a more resourceful and less destructive way if we are to create ease and flow in our lives. Fear has many names. Covert ones are envy, jealousy, codependence, procrastination, bullying, people-pleasing, disconnection. More overt ones are avoidance, fear of failure, or fear of success. There is, however, a kind of antidote to fear, and it is courage. Fear will put up an initial resistance to courage, but it has no real long-term power against it. While we can be fearful and courageous at the same time, and I think courage contains a mighty dose of fear, we can choose to face that fear and flow through it until we fear less and then eventually become fearless. The process isn't always grateful. It isn't always impressive because it may be slow and deliberate steps we take. Taking these steps isn't always easy, an understatement. It isn't always apparent to others, so it should be about us measuring how far we have come and not worrying about what anyone else thinks. Comparison is useless. Courage is powerful no matter what form it takes. The companion stone or metal is aquamarine. Yeah. I like the symbolism of the strings, being tied to her. I mentioned this in the daily reading too. It could be your fears controlling you or the cage here imprisoning you. It looks like your true self is being controlled with fear, and this is encouraging you to break free. It takes, like it said, a strong dose of courage to put yourself out there and overcome your fears, but with great risk comes great reward, right? Okay, so your next card we have the Rose Oracle. Come to me, attracting like a rose, receive abundance and desires. This is so crazy because I shuffled these cards, and for the January 6th daily reading, this came out as the Rose card associated with that too. And it feels like it said it's blocking your ability to manifest. This is just such an incredible re-emphasis of what's going on here. Okay, so by releasing those fears, you're going to open the floodgates for your desires to come in. Snake, shed old skin. Okay. Yep, it's time for a change, transformation. You want to get rid of those fears. A snake can't grow. It's outgrown its skin. It has to leave it behind. So it's time for you to outgrow those fears. Again, whatever precipitated them is far out of your life. You're on to a new phase. And your goddess guidance card, we have Yamanya, golden opportunity. Important doors are opening for you right now. Walk through them. Yeah, that's a beautiful sign because it's like the opportunities are there. The cage is open. The door is free. You're can go through it if you can just get over the anxiety or fear of what might be on the other side, because it's going to be something that will it's going to be very rewarding. Maybe that's the test right now, is test of your courage. The Mist of Wisdom, we have intuition. Trust your intuition. See this giant horn growing out of her third eye. Some of you could be doing third eye meditation, strengthening that chakra, unblocking it, getting more connected to your spirit guides. So, yeah, be open to receiving messages, especially in the dream time. Write down your dreams. Could help you come up with solutions. You could dream a way to free yourself. All right, or even seeing on the other side of this door that's opening for you. And your Journey of Love card, we have Guardian of the Soul Family, number 26. You are being drawn to kindred spirits in this physical world by loving guardians in the spiritual world. If you feel you are leaving relationships behind, do not be afraid. The space that such courageous action creates is sometimes necessary in order to have room for the new to enter your sphere of consciousness. You may also feel that somehow a relationship that seemed to be held back from you is now becoming available to you. That could be one of the golden opportunities they're talking about. There is a great soul love calling you into more intimate connection now. It will be sanctioned by the divine. It is a karmic destiny to fulfill. There is love that you are to experience in connection with particular souls, predetermined by the divine plan. If you are struggling to feel the soul purpose in your current relationships, take heart, for you are being helped by divine guardians who understand and support the sacred purpose of your relationships. Be open to current relationships healing, whether that means improved communication and enriched experience, or the realization that you have traveled as far as you can together. And know that new relationships are going to be an important aspect of your spiritual destiny being fulfilled. Trust in the divine timing of your life and open your heart to the guardians who help you with unconditional love now. This guidance of this oracle is for you is that relationship healing is taking place. In present relationships unfolding, in attracting the right relationships for your future growth, and in leaving behind relationships of the past with a peaceful heart. Be gentle with your heart, beloved. All is well. All right. And next we have our archetype card, the Pilgrim, number 20. All right, the Pilgrim makes me think of a journey, some traveling perhaps. Aha, the Wanderer, the Traveler, the Apprentice. For the pilgrim, an outward journey is always an inward journey. This archetypal wanderer seeks wisdom, experience, and meaning in the farthest reaches of the globe and the deepest regions of the spirit. Others will wonder when the pilgrim will settle down and claim a more conventional life, but the pilgrim knows that the heart belongs in motion. Where there is motion, there is freedom, expansion, and growth. Responsibilities, social conventions, and logistics lull us to sleep, and soon the pilgrim becomes veiled in the slumber of the day-to-day. Yet when this archetype awakens, it rallies our sense of adventure and leads us out the door toward a new reality. With the pilgrim at your side, you will never lack courage, nor do you need every amenity. Travel light, travel soon. Your spirit needs it. It's interesting, we started the reading with fear and how you need, it comes with a good dose of courage. So there's something urging you, kind of like pushing you forward. I mentioned the Sabian symbol is 3 fledglings high in a nest, if you saw the intro. And you know how the mother bird kind of pushes her younglings out of the nest to get them to fly. You know, it's time to fly on your own, it seems. You're opening yourself up to greater opportunities. When light, it's learns, grows, adapts, and studies. When dark, aloof, non-committal, and flaky. And we all have a deep longing to answer the call to get unstuck. What are the obstacles between you and the door? Well, in this case, it looks like it's fear. Even the stillness of meditation, the pilgrim feels the movement of the heart towards what it loves. Okay, so I think it'll become undeniable that the pull of your soul's calling, your heart's calling, is just going to, I mean, you can be proactive about it or you can go kicking and screaming into the future. It's your choice. I'd rather take control myself and be proactive about it, but it's up to you. Now we have the Astrological Heavenly Bodies card, Gemini. Unbelievable. All right. Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, Curiosity, Intellect, and Networking. And that goes perfectly with the Pilgrim. You know, instead in its dark aspect, it could be flaky. I also call it flighty, you know, because it's like we change our minds quite frequently. We can't always get focused on what we want. Maybe that's why the Intuition card is coming in, encouraging you to strengthen your focus on where you want to go, because you have a lot of opportunities that are coming for you. And it might take some discernment, some judgment, some clarity of mind in order to figure out what's next. What direction are you going? And I did pull a Syrian Starseed card, just one tarot card, 5 of crystals. Okay. This came up for another sign I recently did for a monthly reading. So if this is your sign and it's coming up again, it's just a confirmation. but it's a movement away from, again, there's a group in the background and she's kind of left out in the cold. It's not your tribe anymore. Guardian of the soul family tells you that there's brighter, greater souls waiting for you. Their vibration was too low. She's even walking on a higher path than them. They're deep down in this cave in a low frequency, low vibration, but you're finding that you don't want to exist down in that fear-based reality anymore, and it's taking that courage to walk out of the cave into the light, into something new. So there really is no lack here, as long as you have courage and belief in yourself. All right, next we're going to go on to some clarifying cards for our pile 2. And 4. Okay. All right. Underneath we have the 7 of Cups, the card of illusion, delusion, but it's also the card of options. So, like I said, there were many doors that are going to be opening up for you. So, choose wisely. Do you ever see Indiana Jones and was it the Last Crusade? Right, he goes on the search for the Holy Grail. And he ends up in a room full of chalices and he has to pick which one, is the Holy Grail. He has no idea, but he has to use his intuition in order to pick from the right cup. So it's a great movie, great scene if you haven't seen it, but choose wisely. Yeah, but I don't think your heart can lead you wrong in this direction, as long as you pay attention to your heart. By dispersing that fear, you'll get a clearer and clearer picture. By having stronger and stronger faith, because that's ultimately what led Indiana to pick the right cup, was his faith. All right, next we have strength. I love it. Courage. Leo the lion. What is that in the Wizard of Oz? The cowardly lion, right? This is not cowardly. He is fully empowered, following his heart. Leo rules the solar plexus chakra, right? Following your destiny with courage and pride. We have another snake here showing up. We had the snake in our symbolism. A shedding of a skin, shedding of a layer. Perhaps if there was a thick veil over your eyes or covering your intuitive center, it's being removed. There's a culling away, pulling away of the veil for you to clearly see the path that you're going. But you can go forth with courage. There's nothing to be worried about. The Tower. Okay, yep. That's the fear too, but it's also destruction. This energy was similar from pile 1 if you're coming from there. There's a cleansing that is occurring, but it's also breaking down your walls, breaking down your hesitancy to act. This card is ruled by Mars, and Mars is all about masculine action. So we have that moving direct January 12th, very soon, but until it gets out of its shadow period and actually starts picking up speed, maybe around the time of Aries, when Mars is ruled by Aries, or is the ruler of Aries. So that could be, like I said, you can either wait for be dragged into your new reality or take action. The Tower happens like suddenly, unexpectedly, when things happen to us, rather than we take things on proactively, when we face it head on. And I think the damage is less when we plan accordingly. And next we have the 10 of Wands. Yep. End of a cycle. 10s are completion, to begin again. But this is carrying a lot of baggage. I think whatever, like I said, started those fear responses, those anxiety responses within you from your past. You've been carrying these triggers around with you for a long time. And it's time to realize that, we have that flight or fight response for a reason. It's healthy. It tells us when we're in danger, but anxiety comes up when there is no actual physical danger. And we're still responding as if our life is threatened. That can be really exhausting. I know from personal experience. So this is encouraging you to put down the weight, put down the baggage, all the fears and all the hurt that people have done to you in the past. And the Tower is encouraging you to break that apart. It's coming to blast those rods out of your hand. All right. And next, finally, the 6 of Pentacles, 6 of Coins, reciprocity. Yeah, you're going to be repaid for your efforts. Whatever the energy is that you are expressing at this time, it will come back to you tenfold. And the 10 of Wands here again, that number of completion, and like the Wheel of Fortune is the 10th major arcana. That has a turning of the tides associated with it. But yeah, the 6 of Pentacles is also gratitude and being grateful for the experiences that you had. Now you have all this wisdom that you can take with you to your next phase of life. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up with our angel cards. Some angel cards, messages from your angels, pile 2. There's 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. Well, light, yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You bring light to the world, pile 2. So it's interesting in this fear card, there's a little light inside. I'm going to let it shine, you know, that was that old Bible song, this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine, let it shine. All right, you get the idea. Grace, okay. Being graceful in movement and action as you flow through these changes. It can be difficult. We might trip up sometimes, but you know, you can play it off. You can get up and brush yourself off as if nothing happened. So be lighthearted about it, and the light being there. Next we have faith. Yep, like I mentioned, you know, your faith will lead you to the right choice, right? Choose the right cup. We have abundance, yeah. Yamanya came up, the golden opportunity. Important doors are opening for you. Walk through them. So abundance is on the other side. I think it's an abundance of joy, love, light, friendship. With this 6 of coins too, that's also, you know, you have enough to go around. You have enough to share in your physical reality with others. And understanding, yeah, you're going to look back on this time in your life with clarity and understanding that, okay, I learned my lesson. I know not to do it again. And this is what happens when I do X, Y, Z, you know? So you're going to be able to stop yourself in the future from repeating these former mistakes. And I think you'll be able to help others understand their journey as well, and by sharing your experience with them. Okay, pile 2. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. And if you're called to another pile, you can check it out at this time. Otherwise, I will see you later. Take care. Bye. All right, pile 3, you chose the Almighty Moldavite. This is only the second piece of Moldavite I've owned. I used to have a necklace that I bought back in, I don't know, 2017, 16, somewhere around there. After a few years, I lost it. I don't know where it went. It left me. I guess its purpose was done, but I got these a good deal down the street at my local little stone shop, but they're beautiful and they're great earrings. I have a good story about them. They, you know, can bring unexpected change. They're also a stone of manifestation. So it's pretty bold and daring for people to own, or even, you know, work with Moldavite, because your life is going to change dramatically. Okay, let's start up with your Queen of the Moon Oracle. Blossoming Flower Moon. This is a full moon, number 33, the Master Teacher. Gorgeous card. Okay, you're really starting to bloom, come into your own. Things are happening for you, or it could be speaking of the springtime when the flower moon occurs. Do not give up. You have planned for this. Take no notice of what others think or say about you. Open and rise. Someone around you may be jealous of your success. Mark your victories. I joyfully blossom, and I feel no fear. In the country and where I live, there really aren't a lot of meadows, the classic kind of gently rolling open space that often between a forest or mountains. This kind of space whispers to you, here, rest a while, lay down, my friend, it's soft. The first true meadow I saw was in Yosemite National Park in the United States. It was early spring. The snows had pretty much stopped, and nature had taken her opportunity. In front of me, as far as I could see, was a green meadow of grasses covered in blossoming flowers. It was so beautiful it almost made me cry. I just stood there for a long time while taking it all in. It felt so hopeful and new and joyful, so I felt hopeful and renewed and joyful. I walked into the meadow and was soon surrounded by this blossoming. The flower fragrance drifted up with the breeze. There was a dusting of pollen on my clothes. I could hear the contented buzzing of a few insects. In that moment, I was so grateful to be a part of the meadow. Anything seemed possible here. There is a time to blossom. We plant seeds, physically and metaphorically, so they will blossom into what we intend. Perhaps the journey has been a long and hard one, but we shouldn't give up, especially if we are close. Fear is usually the thing that prevents flow and blossoming. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of change, fear of what people think. I could go on, but know if we can release the useless fears and begin to enjoy our growth and eventual blossoming, it will all be worthwhile. The companion stone or metal is ruby. Ruby is the birthstone of July, which I'm actually born in, And in sidereal astrology, most July birthdays align with the sign of Gemini, actually. So, and here we have our Gemini full moon. Yeah, it's ironic. If you're coming from pile two, the focus there, their card was called Fear, the moon card. So, if you're struggling with that, maybe go check out pile two. But moving on to our Rose Oracle card, healing is happening. You are not broken. Trust the process. It's safe to soften. All right, so you are healing, you are blossoming, things are coming along nicely, you're mending nicely. Your angels and ancestors, wise one, grow within your courage situation. And we have growing and blossoming and healing. This is beautiful. This is like the crone, the maiden mother crone, the eldest and wisest of the female energies. So she's seen and done it all. And she has these birds around her like a Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, much like this Gemini moon. So you could be getting a lot of downloads this full moon. Pay attention to your dreams. Meditate. Let's see our Goddess Guidance card. We have Mary Magdalene, unconditional love. Love yourself, others, and every situation, no matter what the outward appearance may be. It has to do with gratitude, too, yeah. Being thankful for everyone and everything in your life. I know, as an example, I have a coworker that I don't get along with, and I've become more and more grateful for his presence because it's pushing me out of there, because now I can get back to on track to doing what I'm meant to do. Here we are. Then we have Dove. Oh, wow, this is so beautiful. Take a leap of faith. And doves are all about peace, harmony. These butterflies, the transition and the change. Oh, love and faith. My goodness, you guys are glowing, pile three. It was so interesting when I was shuffling for the oracle cards, like pile 1 and 2 were coming out pretty quick. And then I'd be like, pile 3, come on. Like, I had to work for these cards, but they were distinctly different than pile 1 and 2 in the way that they came out. And the theme so far is distinctly different. So our Journey of Love card, the Temple, number 59. I often say, the body is your temple of the soul. Okay, this has to do with faith too, taking a leap of faith. Temple is obviously a religious structure in most cases. The lover and the beloved meet in sacred space. They take respite from cares of the world, entering into sanctuary where only they exist. You are in need of this. Meditation, making love, connection, and dance, intimacy, and surrender into the moment. Your body and soul need to enter into the temple and participate in sacred ceremony. Choose to gift this to yourself. Set aside time. Turn off the computer and mobile phone. Turn on music and set the lighting. Be in the present moment. This oracle brings guidance to take time out to smell the flowers, savor the pleasures of life, and renew your connection to the inner lover. Your sensuality wants to come out and play. You are encouraged to explore scent, touch, taste, and feeling. You are encouraged to play with color. What moves you? What brings you into connection with yourself in this moment again? It is the wholeness of divine self-connection in sacred space that will best nourish you now. All right. So yeah, stop and smell the flowers, right? It's funny because we had the flower moon in the beginning, blossoming. Pay attention to the details. Be grateful for all the little things in your life because they're all meaningful. All right, our archetype card, the Dead End. All right, well, that probably preceded everything that you're going through right now. We did have, again, in this, if you listen to the intro, the ruling tarot card for the third decan of Gemini, where this is taking place, is the Ten of Swords. And there's a dead man there, right? It's a finality. It's putting the final nail in the coffin. It's always darkest before the dawn. His head is turned towards the sunrise. So looking towards the light that's coming in. All right, the Dead End. You can also equate this to the South Node, so maybe check out where the South Node's transiting in your chart. It's where you are to tread no longer. The closed door, the final chapter, the impasse. Contrary to what its name implies, the Dead End is very much alive. It is a force that stops us from moving forward as planned. It is thick, dense, uncompromising, a wall beyond all walls. With every bramble, thorn, and stone, it may simply states, "No more, child. You have reached the last page of this chapter." It is natural to resist its very resistance and struggle even harder to make our way, to prove our point, to hold on to what is. In this way, we fight with life itself. From a mythic perspective, the end you face is very much a beginning. There are doors opening all around you, just not the one you planned on walking through. If you are honest and courageous enough to accept, adjust, and adapt, the dead end becomes known as life's beginning. Acceptance, humility, relief, reverence for change in its light aspect, in when it's dark, inertia, stuckness, tension, unconscious, and gripping. Note that in most stories and movies, the moment the protagonist reaches the dead end, something riveting happens. You are the protagonist. Reflect on dead ends in your past that led to unimaginable wonders. The moment you accept the ending, the feeling of grace will arise. Doors begin to open both inside you and in the world. Absolutely. So, when it's at like the blossoming, it's like you're almost there. Don't give up. You're just about to blossom. Okay. So the dead end served its purpose. I feel like it's in the recent past for you all. And then we have Venus. Awesome. There's a lot of feminine love, receiving love and beauty here. Give and receive love, find value, and see beauty. I did say stop and smell the roses. And then here we have, unconditional love with Mary Magdalene there. Awesome. Okay. And then the Syrian Starseed Tarot, I pulled one card for everyone, the Shadow. Isn't that interesting? That's the Devil card. So maybe some of you are working through addictions or toxic connections, breaking free, breaking out of this dead end, completing shadow work, healing those wounds within yourself with unconditional love for self. And that's what's going to allow you to blossom. I mean, they say even the beautiful lotus flower grows from the murkiest of waters. It has to push up through the darkness, having faith that all the while it's going to reach the surface and blossom. But it can't see where it's going. And it grows out of the most dirty and mucky conditions into this beautiful flower that just floats on top of the surface. All right. I'm going to shuffle for some tarot cards for you. Pile 3. 4 cards for a message. Nope, too many. All right, that one though. Okay. 2 more, please. 1, 2. Oh, I love it. Underneath the deck, 10 of Cups. Happiness, togetherness. Like I said, you're definitely come together with like-minded souls and individuals. Your flowers in a field, right? You're all blooming together. These are the new vibe that you're attracting. That's gorgeous. I love that. Okay. But yeah, it definitely has a happy ending. Pile 4. You did the work, the shadow work. You had the courage to get yourself out of the dead end and allow yourself to grow. And also I think of a flower growing up through the cracks, like through the cement. It's like, how does a flower grow through such a hostile environment? But it breaks through somehow to find the light. All right, first card here, 10 of Wands. Let's see, we also had that for pile 2. Again, end of a cycle, 10s are completion. You're putting down the burden, laying it to rest. You're not carrying this baggage with you into the future any further. Next, we have the 6 of Wands, victory. Absolutely. You've overcome a challenge, conquering the shadow, conquering the fear of success or failure, whatever it is. You've succeeded and pushed through the hard times. All right, the Hermit, the Virgo card. Virgo rules the 6th house of health, routine, everyday routine. Also can, just signify time spent alone in reflection and meditation, but he's definitely holding his light. Keeping it from being blown out by the wind. But you always have this light burning inside you. No matter how dark it gets around you, you have the ability to see. You can light the path for yourself and those that follow. Okay. And finally, the High Priestess. Yep. Intuition. This is even like a symbolism of Gemini, the 2 pillars. If you look at the glyph of Gemini. Light and dark, integrating both experiences into your life, being grateful for the dark, the positive, and the negative. That's how they work together to manifest your current reality. Oh, wow. Okay. So you are the High Priestess and the wise one here. Like I said, there's a lot of wisdom to be gave. She's the keeper of secret knowledge, right? You have that secret knowledge within you. Maybe that's the light inside you that you're guarding very carefully. But it has a purpose now. You're able to apply it to your current life and share it with others. All right. Gonna finish with your little angel cards. Pile 3, some angel messages, please. 1, 2, Okay. So the first one that came out was obedience. Yeah, it's Saturn. I get that. Control. You have to learn the lessons of Saturn, which rules Capricorn, the ruler of the devil card. There was some karmic debt. This is also, 10 carrying all that weight, but now you've overcome that. You transmuted that. But obedience serves a role. It's our teacher. Learn the rules so you know how to break them properly, right? We have acceptance. Hey, look, they said new doors are opening, right? So maybe you're getting accepted into a school or a program or a new job, or group of friends, soul family. They're accepting you and putting their arms around you, welcoming you. And we have a sisterhood and brotherhood that goes well with that as well. New group of friends, social groups. And then we have love. It's a recurring theme here with Venus and Mary Magdalene showing up. Unconditional love. Love from your spirit guides. They're so proud of you for everything you've been through, not giving up with the 10 of Wands, and just having faith and trusting and loving yourself and those around you. So, all right. Thanks so much for tuning in, pile 3. If you're feeling drawn to another pile at this time, go ahead and check it out. Otherwise, I thank you so much for tuning in, and take care of yourself. Have a beautiful full moon. We'll talk to you later. Bye.